where it is from the cheapest producer possible. Okay? So we have to get our incentives in line so that we are all working from the same series of incentives. Right now we have this huge healthcare debate in this country. Well, the incentives for the healthcare companies, the health insurance companies, are very different from the incentives from the health insurance consumers. As soon as the incentives are aligned in terms of, it's called in business school strategic alignment of interests. When we all have the same strategic interests, then as a country, as a nation, globally, we'll be able to see some huge changes. And one of those is, price parity and feed-in tariffs. Another is really, the man who wrote the book on distributed energy in the state of California is standing in the back of the room. So, Woody was my professor, so I always like to give Woody a shout out. So, these aren't necessarily new ideas. It really does come down to the will to do them, but it's also the will to make the very hard choices to give that price parity. Because when you go in...
It's going to be a very long speech the president has.
Sorry. As soon as you get into speech...
all three of you.
As soon as you get into speech making, it's hard to shut.
So do a short takeaway. Everybody, give 10, 15 seconds from each of you. What's the takeaway this audience ought to have as a result of listening to this panel discussion? Rod, you want to begin? What do you want to leave behind? What message?
I think the message for me is that to a large extent, I think there's a lot more opportunity going forward than we would like to sometimes acknowledge. Again, my view, and it's matured over an extended period of time, is that we add little value when we try and vilify one another relative to where we want to be in the next decade, the next 2 decades, and we've got to figure out a way to get over that and find out where there's some common ground, and in fact, can we do something that on a consensus basis moves us towards a more sustainable future. And as it stands today, we still want to find ways to point fingers at one group being dirty, one group being clean, and that somehow there's an inherent conflict as a result of that. So shame on us.
Josh, but you actually get 2 last words because we're going to see a little bit of your film later. But give them a short takeaway. That's the message.
I'd say be bold. Use your money as your power base. Vote with your dollars. And one thing I wanted to give a shout out to our nonprofit organization, the Veggie Van organization, which is working in conjunction with Breathe LA. Rebecca heads that Veggie Van organization. It is about education in schools. Our goal is to put a green curriculum free in every school in America within the next couple of years. So be educators, educate yourself, and educate the next generation.
Anthony?
I would agree with that. I would agree with all 3 things. What I would say, or both things that have been said. I would also say, use your lungs. Be heard. Don't be afraid to call your congressman's office. Write that letter. Do all that stuff. Really counts. That's the biggest lesson that I could give anybody is be heard, because most people don't. Most people. Oh, they're never going to pay any attention to me. That's just not true. They actually will. They write down every letter that they get. Not every email, every letter.
We should give, I want to turn this over to Edward, but I want to thank my panelists for allowing me to be part of this. And Edward, the green salon is yours.
Great. First of all, great panel, and